everybody, how's it going today? Today we're going to be talking about Leslie Headland, and specifically this article that you see. This article's title is Leslie Headland begs the Acolyte viewers to launch social media campaign for a second season.
What? What the fuck?
Well, going down and reading this article, it starts off, in an interview with Collider, following the conclusion of the first season's finale, Headland was asked by Maggie Lovett, shifting gears, one of the most popular questions that I got to ask you from Twitter was, what do fans need to do to ensure that we get a season 2? Headland replied, truly any online support and love you can send the show. It's a little tricky because of the way that the internet works. Now, this is just my opinion. I really don't see how the internet can be tricky. I mean, I guess it can be kind of tricky at times in certain situations and scenarios, but I mean, in the terms of just sending out support or love or criticism or hate of something, I feel like that's pretty straightforward when it comes to the internet. You just voice your thoughts and opinions on it and voice your support or hate or dislike. But anyways, if you enjoyed the show and you want to see more of the story, any support that you can give the show on social media platforms would be super helpful. She continued saying, sending love to the cast too. You've seen what Hayden Christensen went through. He's getting the love now, but give the love now if you enjoyed the performances. Even if you were kind of like whatever on the show, which, my opinion, I feel a lot of people were kind of whatever on the show, and a lot of people hated the show. But if you enjoyed the performances, get on their social media, let them know that you love them, or that you support them, or that the performances were great. Going on, it says, from there, Headland stated, encourage your friends to watch the show. Well, I will say this. In my previous video, I gave reasons why I did not like the show, but I will tell everybody to watch the show or movie, regardless of how I felt, so that way they can kind of form their own thoughts and opinions on it. And anyone watching this video, if you haven't watched The Acolyte, I would say go through and give it a shot, watch it. I'm not going to, even though I didn't like it, I'm not going to project my thoughts, opinions on anybody. I'm just simply reviewing and giving my thoughts and opinions. But anyways, it says, a lot of my work has been word of mouth. We were talking about the review bombing, so just telling people don't pay attention to the IMDb score. She then stated, if you enjoyed it, tell people. It kind of seems that it's sort of basic, but I think what's interesting is that nowadays, if you like a show, you're very rarely going to go online and be like, I liked the show. Now that, I gotta say, that is completely false and wrong, because you can look up any show. It doesn't matter what show, what platform it's streaming on. People voice their opinions, whether they like a show or they hate a show. I mean, look at the House of Dragon, for example. A lot of people are praising that show. So that statement, I think that's just kind of off the mark. With internet and social media being such a big thing in everybody's lives, people are going to be talking more over social media and internet than in person, I would say. So I just don't buy that. Lovett then stated, you just watch it and move on. Headland reiterated, you watch it, you move on. Maybe you mention it to somebody over dinner and be like, oh, I just binged this show. It was fun. Lee Wong Jae, I think if that's how you say it, I apologize if I butchered that, is an awesome actor. It usually comes up that way as opposed to going online and saying, I love this show. Again, I think that's a false statement. Now, people do talk amongst each other. I mean, I've done it myself, being out with friends or hanging out with friends, talking about different shows and expressing how I felt or telling them, hey, I just watched this awesome show. You should watch it. Like, that happens, but like I said, to say that it doesn't happen online is just false. And I think people actually talk more on the internet than they do in actual person. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But it says, so if you did love the show, then pivot and be appreciative. By the way, I know this is already happening, even though I'm not online, she added. People have been sending me fun tweets. Okay, so, by the way, I know this is already happening, even though I'm not online, she added. So she just stated that she's not online, but people have been sending her fun tweets. So I'm assuming maybe friends, family are sending tweets of other people to her phone, I would assume. I mean, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense for her to say, I'm not online, if she's getting tweets. But that's whatever. And beautiful artwork and all of the ship comments. And I'm absolutely loving it. I know it's out there, but if you aren't doing it, I would encourage you to do it and support the show. So thank you. It says, Headland previously revealed that a season 2 had not been greenlit in an interview with The Nerdist. She was asked, do you know if you're definitely getting a season 2? She said, no, I have no idea. Well, not that I have no idea. I would say there are conversations, and I don't know when that will happen. I don't know when that decision will be made. Headland informed Entertainment Weekly at the end of June that she did not know if a second season would be greenlit. She said, I'll tell you my philosophy on first seasons. Something that I've noticed is first seasons will end on what should have been the break into Act 2. It feels like everyone's really expecting to get a second season, and I don't feel that's a good idea. I think you should put everything you can into the first season and give the audience a nice resolution that feels satisfying, but enough nods to the mysteries that you would want to see a second season. She explained, so it's a little bit of both. You don't want to leave it so wrapped up that, like Obi-Wan or standalone miniseries, that there's no reason to watch a second season. But I think there's enough stuff in the last few episodes that you would want to have answered. Again, watch my previous video on my reasons why I didn't like the Acolyte. Like I said, I was kind of lost all throughout the season. Like, I don't know, things just... I don't know. I had a lot of questions, like the ending of the Acolyte. I don't know. It just, again, it didn't make sense to me. So I'm trying to be middle of the road here, looking at both sides, between people who hate the Acolyte and people who love the Acolyte. Me personally, I was just lost. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess I have questions that want to be answered. But anyways, so I guess people are going online and saying hashtag, renew Acolyte Season 2 or hashtag Acolyte Season 2 or something along those lines. Look, if people liked it, that's awesome. If they want a second season, by all means go for it. But me personally, I'm just kind of like, I just don't care. Like I said, I didn't form any connections to any of the characters. The story, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the full story was of this show. Like, I mean, I get the basics of it, the basis of it, but I don't know. It just left me with a feeling of, I don't care at all. So, again, that's just my opinion. I'll be curious to see it gets greenlit for a second season. Because a lot of people are saying that with the Nielsen numbers, if you don't know what that is, I guess that's like the official rating based off of minutes watched for a show. And I guess when you go to the Nielsen ratings website, that it's not even on the top 10 list. So I don't even know where you can go to find the actual minutes watched in total for the Acolyte. If someone knows how to, please leave it in the comments, because I tried looking and I couldn't find it. But again, with this season being $180 million, which I think people were saying that it breaks down to like 22 million an episode or something like that. That's just crazy, because I mean, to even say to ignore the audience rating and the reviews and the scores for the show, to in this article for her to say to just ignore that, I don't think that's too wise. I think that's something Disney needs to really consider and look at. The amount of money that they invested in this show, and again, it's just ridiculous because Disney and a lot of other media sources are blaming the fans, for its failure and for it not being popular. That to me, that's just kind of ridiculous, and it's like, why would you attack your fan base? Now I get it, there are fans and people out there that are truly extremely toxic and have no place being in the fandom. They are the whole nine. They are racist, they are just cruel and just evil with their words. So I mean, I get it. Those people have no place in the fandom. But from what I've seen, and like I said, I'm trying to stay in the middle of the road here, trying to look at both sides, give both sides a chance to kind of hear out what each side has to say. I spent a lot of time online looking at different comments and reviews and videos, and I would say that 90% of the comments in the videos and the coverage that I see is people just don't like it. I mean, I've even seen videos from other YouTubers who shared comments from their group with people from the LGBTQ community and people of different ethnic backgrounds leaving comments saying like, I don't like this. This isn't the type of representation I want to have in this show. So, I mean, it's out there. I mean, it's not just a specific type of fan. It's a lot of people genuinely just don't like the Acolyte. Again, if you do like the Acolyte, I'm really not trying to hate on you. Like I said, if you like it, that by all means, that's awesome. You found something that you connected with, that you enjoyed, and I'm all for it. I'm just stating my opinions, and again, it's just, I just didn't care for it. So yeah, like I said, I would be really surprised if they greenlit this. I think that's something Disney really has to consider, given how the audience reacted to it. But then again, Disney could just look the other way and greenlight it and drop another $180 million down. I'm willing to give things second chances, and if they did come out with a second season, I feel like they would really have to take a look at who's in the writing room, because we all know at one point Leslie wanted, she brought someone in who had no knowledge of Star Wars whatsoever, stating that she wanted to have a fresh perspective, which I completely understand, and that's great and all. But I mean, it's just, um, I feel like you need to have more seasoned people and seasoned writers mixed in with, maybe a few people who, you know, you want to try to have a fresh perspective from. Just bringing people in who have no idea or any knowledge of anything Star Wars, I just feel, that's just a recipe for disaster. And, I think what Disney also really needs to do is they need to sit down and figure out this whole what's canon and not canon thing. Because, we saw in the show, Leslie has used bits and pieces from the EU, which is, if you don't know what that is, that's the extended universe, and that's usually related to all the Legends books. And from my knowledge, I guess when Disney took over Lucasfilm and Star Wars, basically all of the Legends books were pushed out. Like, that's not our canon. We're going to establish, the original trilogy, the prequels, and the sequels, and everything after is all Disney canon, I guess. But in that, they took out things like cortosis, which can disable lightsabers, and then like the lightsaber whip, just a few things from the EU. So I think Disney really needs to sit down and with their writing team, really establish, okay, like what's 100% canon? What are we gonna bring in from the EU and make canon instead of just picking random things? Because I think that's the thing that fans are most angry about is they kicked out Legends from being canon, but they still want to tap into that and take things. And I think fans are saying, it's like you have so much good source material with the EU that you don't need to try to reinvent the wheel here. Like, take a lot of that good source material, and you can interject. If you interject certain things in a certain way, I'm fine with that. But do it in a good, kind of nonchalant way that, I'm so invested into the story and material that I might pick up slight hints at maybe different messages or things. Don't just be so blunt forward, like out in front, trying to put certain messages into it. Because at the end of the day, as fans, we're here and we want to see a Star Wars story. We want to be taken out of our reality and put in a world world and place where we can associate, where we can, just completely remove ourselves from reality and get fully immersed and feel what characters are feeling in the story and find relation to characters or events in the story. And to me, that's like what great storytelling is. And if you want to interject certain little things or whatever, then that's fine. But it's like sometimes they try to inject too many messages, and they're too just blunt and straightforward with it, that it takes you out of the immersion. So that's just my thought and opinion on it. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happens and see if we do get a second season. If they do, I just hope they do an overhaul of of all the writers, and just, I don't know, I guess try to make a story that, at least in my opinion, my view, just, I don't know, makes more sense to me, or allows me to get to know characters more, to a point where I can associate with them, or, I could relate to the character, so that way when a character death happens on screen, then it's like a stab to the heart. Then it's got me pulled in. So, but that's just my thoughts. If you've been here this long, I want to say thanks for sticking around and watching the video, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will catch you in the next video.